A kid's softball game, a coach, and a big brawl. The person charged in the fight might surprise you. I'm Angenette Levy, and this is Crime Fix. Before I get into this crazy case, I want to tell you about an app that I use that I really like. It's called Upside, and it will give you cash back on things that you buy pretty often, like gas, groceries, and even takeout. Here's what you do. You download Upside for free. You claim an offer at one of their 100,000 plus locations and pay like you normally would with a credit or debit card. Then you verify the purchase, and boom, you get money back. So say I want to get gas or I get takeout one night. I'll search for the Upside offers first. After I spend, money appears in my app that I can then transfer straight into my bank account. Upside's frequent users get an average of, get this, $254 back a year. You can't beat that. So to start getting your cash back, click the link in the description or scan the QR code that you see on the screen and use promo code CRIMEFIX to get an extra 25 cents back on every gallon on your first tank of gas. It's springtime, and that means it's baseball and softball season for kids. Parents and their kids, they spend a lot of time on the diamond. Some even travel for games and tournaments. It can be a lot of fun sitting in the bleachers in the dugout, hearing the crack of the bat. But there can be a downside when some parents let their emotions get the best of them. And Meredith Grant, a softball coach for her 8-year-old daughter's softball team, is accused of doing just that. Grant is a mom of 3 young children and a celebrated softball coach for the Georgia Platinum Fury Harris team, or at least she was. This case takes us to Dalton, Georgia, home of many of the nation's carpet manufacturers, earning it the nickname the carpet capital of the world. It's south of Chattanooga, Tennessee. It was just after 4:30 on April 4th, Easter Sunday in fact, when 2 teams lined up to tell each other, good game. You can see them on this video posted on Facebook by a woman named Lauren Stitham, the coach of the Wreckers fast pitch team. Grant was a coach for the opposing team of the Fury. The kids are saying good game, but then something happens. A fight erupts between 2 women, and the fight is on. They end up on the ground, and the kids, they scatter. The tournament director called Dalton police. He likely couldn't believe what he was seeing. Officers responded to a fight in progress. An officer wrote in his report, I spoke with the suspect, Meredith Grant. She stated that throughout her daughter's softball game, the opposing team was making unsportsmanlike comments about her daughter. She stated that after the game ended, both teams got in a line to say good game. Meredith stated that in doing so, one of the coaches from the opposing teams got in her face. She reacted by pushing him with her right hand. Meredith then stated that other people from the opposing team started attacking her, causing her to fall to the ground. Meredith was unable to explain to me what happened after she fell to the ground. Well, of course, there are 2 sides to every story, so officers spoke with Lauren Stitham, the woman who posted the video on Facebook. The officer's report continued. I then met with other officers who had spoken to the victim, Lauren Stitham, and were able to receive video footage of the incident. In the video, both teams were in a formal line to say good game. I did not observe anyone get in Meredith's face, but I did observe Meredith shove one of the opposing coaches. Then another opposing coach attempted to separate both parties, but was pushed by Meredith. Meredith then walked around the group of coaches/kids and grabbed Lauren by the hair, pulled her to the ground, and punched her in the face. I made contact with Lauren and observed marks on her face where she had been punched by Meredith. So police said the alleged victim in this case, Lauren Stitham, had injuries on her face. Let's take a look at that video one more time. The kids are lined up to do that good game ritual. You see kids do that. People do that all the time in sports. They're slapping hands to show that they are good sports. Then toward the end of this, you can see the 2 women begin to speak. What is said isn't known, but words are definitely exchanged. And then the 2 women end up on the ground as a blonde woman steps back, and then other coaches try to step in to stop the fight. Meredith Grant, the wife and mother of 3, was booked into the Whitfield County Jail on a misdemeanor battery charge. Grant was a beloved coach for the Fury, but she has since stepped down from that role and she will no longer be allowed to coach in tournaments hosted by the U.S. Fast Pitch Association. She had been inducted into the East Ridge High School Athletic Hall of Fame. All right, so to talk about this, what I think is kind of insanity, let's bring in Meg Strickler. She is a criminal defense attorney based in the Atlanta, Georgia area, the greater Atlanta area, not affiliated with this case at all. Meg, when I first saw this, I'm not completely shocked, because if you've ever been to a kid's sporting event, you know that some of the parents can get a little wild. It's actually very disconcerting to me as a parent. But this is a coach. This is a coach, and this is 8th grade softball, or 8-year-olds playing softball, rather. Tell me your thoughts as a criminal defense attorney and a mom.
Well, I remember my first interaction with the crazy parents. My kid was like in 1st grade, and it was a Saturday morning. You know, all the kids play soccer, and my kid's doing, cartwheels. Like, she's 6. And I'll never forget that one of the parents at that juncture was so rabid about his kid, that I was like, whoa. And I knew my kid wasn't destined to be a soccer star because she's doing cartwheels. But it was
Right.
my first introduction, and ever since I've seen the same thing. And what happens, and I don't know what the dichotomy is, what the psychological world is here, but these parents get really, really involved. And then some of the parents become coaches. Okay, so this could be that combination where one of the coach's daughters was part of the team and became rabid that way. But none of this is excusable. You ask me as a criminal defense lawyer, she's getting her punishment right now. This is all over the internet. And sadly, the internet never, ever, ever forgets. It's always going to be out there. So this 8-year-old's going to become a 15-year-old before you know it. And so this is going to be there, and that's punishment enough. Also, she's been banned from coaching in that world. And I think that is actually the most efficient, most pertinent, most appropriate punishment. She won't be punished criminally other than going to jail and then having to do some anger management classes.
Well, and she should be banned. Honestly, she should not be allowed to coach again. This is so unacceptable. You see the parents at some of these sporting events act crazy. And I know as a mom of a kid who has played sports, you get emails every once in a while that caution, the parents to behave appropriately, which I'm always like, I can't believe we're getting this email, because somebody's acted up at a game and been insane. And so, which is really disheartening because it sets a bad example for all of the kids. And so you have a coach, though, who has done something very unsportsmanlike, committed an alleged assault here. That's the allegation. She's innocent until proven guilty, but we have the video. That's what's so confounding to me. And you're right. It is on the internet. It's never going away. People are going to Google her name for years, and this is going to pop up. And she looks very angry in her mugshot. Mugshots are usually not flattering, but she looks mad. So it makes you wonder, like, wow, under all the cute family Facebook photos, what's really going on below the surface here with this woman that she got that stirred up at an 8-year-old's softball game? These are kids who are just learning the game, that she's doing this and pulling this woman's hair, allegedly, pulling her to the ground and then beating her up and then acting like and then she's like trying to blame other people, and then the cops go and look and they've got the videotape, and the woman, the alleged victim here, is like putting it on Facebook for the world to see.
Yeah. And understand, most of these organizations have training specifically for coaches, so that before you become a coach, you've got to go through hours of training. And the training is usually watching videos on the internet, but it's kind of like any corporation with like cybersecurity or whatever. There are these videos that you need to watch, and it trains you on how to be a proper coach. And when I'm talking about training you, it's not on how to teach them how to do proper softball skills. It's training you to know how to behave in all circumstances. So it's not just like she's just a coach who walked off the street. She should be morally smart enough to know not to behave like a crazy person in front of their children. But to be in that elevated position of coach, they do have training. Again, I'm not going to say specifically for that, but all organized sports do that because the coaches are held to a higher level. These children look up to the coaches to mirror their behavior, and they're supposed to take the higher moral ground at all times. So these 8-year-olds are going to remember this as well. If you watch that video, the children are all going, what just occurred here? Like, they're going to remember that. Forget the video. It's going to be in their memories.
Right. These kids are going to grow up, and it's not just the conscious memory, it's the subconscious memory. And hopefully the other coaches have sat down the team, and said, what happened was bad. This is never going to be allowed again. Coach Meredith is not coming back. And that talk has been had. And what's really sad about this too is that she was kind of celebrated. I was going through the Facebook page, and she was kind of inducted into some Hall of Fame at her high school. I mean, Coach Meredith, happy birthday, Coach Meredith. We love Coach Meredith. And then this, it's like, whew, whoa. And now her kids, her poor children, it makes you wonder, are they still playing the sport? And, dad is taking them to the games. They're probably mortified. Your mom is accused of beating up another mom.
And understand, as an 8-year-old, your processing skills are as an 8-year-old. And so they probably have no real understanding of any part of it. And then there could be repercussions for years to come, like you just stated. Is she going to be banned from any and all softball games in that region? I don't know. I know she's banned as a coach, but is she going to be banned from being in that world? It's possible. And would she follow it? And then the other issue is, if she doesn't follow it, the other parents are going to be like, oh, she needs to go. I don't know, but this is going to sadly follow that family, that region, that whole scene for a long time to come. And it is my hope that the one positive that can come from it is it can be a reminder for everybody involved to always behave in a professional way. Professional is the word you use when you were a coach. Professional.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. When I grew up in high school, we had some fairly unprofessional coaches, like yelling, getting in your face, like all that stuff. But this is like ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. It's usually you're hearing about the parents. You're hearing about the parents acting up. You don't hear about it coming to blows, but you hear about parents getting out of line, screaming at people at these games and being, just ridiculous. It's really bad. It's actually a really bad thing that goes on across the country. And it's a problem at sports games, high school, middle school, what have you.
Well, it's the whole scene. It's the whole scene, because remember, there's the whole thing is the travel sports as well. It's the whole scene for, you name it. It can be softball, can be baseball, can be volleyball, can be swimming, can be, you fill in the blank. The whole scene is, these poor kids. And I'm going to say poor kids because when I grew up, our sports weren't so intense, and maybe that part, the intensity, is adding to the mix. Because as a travel parent, you're traveling to godforsaken towns 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hours away, hanging out in interesting hotels with lots and lots of other team people. It's just a lot of recipe for some issues. And as you can tell, you hear about the issues. And more importantly, once again, we're supposed to raise athletes. The term athlete is used from day one. So even if you're in first grade, second grade, they'll call you an athlete to kind of put you at a level where you understand how to behave on a team, or if it's an individual sport, how to behave on the court or in the pool, And so I question also, in the day of 2026, even if Game Changer wasn't on, there would have been a parent, and there probably is a parent, who immediately had the phone out and was putting it on Snap, putting it on Facebook Live, whatever.
Let's talk about the video. I want you to explain that, because when I first saw the video, I was kind of like, how on earth do they have video of this? because that seems like fishy to me. But you were telling me before we started talking here and recording that there's like a
Yeah.
system so that parents can log on
Yeah.
and watch this.
Yeah.
And that's why it was, I guess, like maybe a widescreen view like that.
Yeah.
And there was kind of a scoreboard, I think, type
Yeah.
thing up in the corner. So that there's like a system for that. And that's why we have this video. It's not like somebody just happened to be taping, recording this. It wasn't a setup or anything like that. So talk to me about this video system or these systems that exist where parents can log on if they're not around and watch the game.
I can only tell you from volleyball. I'm just extrapolating because I did not get a chance to Google how softball world works. But I'm assuming, and I'm probably right on this, that whenever you have an organized sports arena kind of thing, a sports concept, a sports club, or multiple clubs, they have a live stream. And it's meant to live stream the sport so that even if the parent has to step out for a while or whatever, it's always live streamed out there. And usually there's a subscription that you have to pay. So everybody wins. Because as a parent, we are a one human being. We can't necessarily get to, if we have multiple children, to all the sporting events. That's how I always utilized the volleyball live stream, was to be able to log in when I went back to the hotel, log in when I'm not, at the actual event, whatever. And so what's really good as a lawyer, however, is that since it's from a third party that just is always giving the live feed, we know it wasn't modified in any which way. And so if there is going to be some litigation of some sort, I doubt it, civil litigation, or if she wants to contest, oh, no, that's not what happened, we got a video. And it's not altered.
And that's one of the things that's kind of upsetting about this case, too, is that the cops are like, we've got the video. But she tried to blame the other person and say that they started it. And the cop goes back to her, according to the police report, and they're like, we've got video. You were the aggressor. I'm arresting you. Let's talk about the criminal charge here. There's a criminal charge here. She was booked into the jail, then released, posted bail, whatever. Are they going to make an example of her because this has become high profile? Are they going to make her do some jail time just to teach her a lesson and say, this is not going to be tolerated? Dalton, Georgia, people have probably driven through there. It's the home of the carpet place or whatever. It's a small town. So do they make an example of her, or does she throw herself on the mercy of the court and get probation? What's your prediction here?
I can only give you a prediction. I've actually been in Whitfield County. Whitfield County and Dalton are suburbs, if you want to call it, of Chattanooga. So it's rural, but yet it's not rural. And it's quite a lovely area, actually. But what I anticipate occurring, and what generally occurs in Georgia for all people who are charged for the first time, and I can virtually guarantee this is her first one, because she wouldn't have been a coach if she had a criminal history. Because to become a coach, you have to give them your criminal background. They run a criminal background on you for all sporting worlds, and so normally what occurs is that she should be given the access to a conditional discharge, which means take anger management classes. If for any reason, and I wouldn't have fathom in this concept that this would be an issue, but if alcohol is mentioned in any which way, which we know it's not, but we don't know how far this will go, she would have to do some alcohol counseling as well. But normally that's what occurs. It is a rare storyline that you get a conviction and probation for your first foray out into the criminal justice system. What would augment this issue is, and I'm kind of extrapolating here, but let's pretend that the person that got the woman, the Lauren person, if she's not, but if she was hurt, that elevates the charges. If there was some cursing, which we don't see it on the video, there could be ultimately more charges of a thing called simple assault. Screaming stuff is simple assault. And again, I'm going really far here, but if she said in front of others, I'm going to kill you, that in Georgia is terroristic threats, which is a felony. I'm really stretching it, though. I don't anticipate those things. But you asked what could happen, and any of those things could happen.
Well, we will keep an eye on it. This Lauren, she put the video out, so she's not happy.
No.
And so, and there are photos, according to the police report, of her injuries.
Yeah.
So she has injuries.
Yes.
Beyond the hair pulling.
Yes.
So
Bruising, I'm sure.
They had something to photograph. So we'll see how she feels about it and what she thinks should happen here. So Meg Strickler, thank you so much for your time and your expertise. I appreciate it. I can safely say when I go to these games, I set up my camping chair and I have a cup of coffee and I just kind of hang out and cheer on the kids. And I recommend everybody else do the same.
It's actually a lot of fun. You get to hang out with your kids and it's bonding time. I've had wonderful stories with that. So I agree with you. And thank you for having me on.
Yeah, totally. Thank you for coming on.
Okay, take care.
Now, that battery charge that Meredith Grant faces at this point, it's a misdemeanor. It's not clear whether other charges will be filed against her or not. We'll keep an eye on this and let you know what happens. And that's it for this episode of Crime Fix. I'm Angenette Levy. Thanks so much for being with me. I'll see you back here next time.